Fragile and conflict-affected areas are now central to global investment. The opportunities are real, but so are the hidden social and legal risks. When a situation amounts to armed conflict, international humanitarian law helps define how business should operate.
IHL is the specialized set of international rules that regulates behavior in armed conflict.
We don't ask companies to withdraw from conflict areas. The people there need good companies, they need jobs, they need good products. But we're asking them to respect international humanitarian law because at the end, it's for their benefit.
IHL gives rise to a particularly unique set of legal, reputational, and financial risks that it behooves investors to be familiar with.
This is not about politics, but it's about international law. There are rules by which actors in conflict are supposed to behave.
So, a major misconception among investors may be the belief that they don't influence the conflict. But in reality, economic activity can easily reinforce harmful structures or fuel social grievances. Conversely, it could also help promote stability and justice.
CAHRAs, or conflict-affected and high-risk areas, are a set of areas that are prone to armed conflict or may be experiencing armed conflict. Think fragile states where there's direct challenge to the rule of law.
One of the biggest challenges is understanding the context itself. So the history of human rights violations and international crimes, as well as the economic and political power structures that have shaped the economy. So for investors, understanding these contexts is not optional, it's fundamental risk management.
There is definitely a higher risk in conflict areas. So it might be operational risk, it might be even sanction risk, legal risk, reputational risk. But one risk that was very important for us was to what extent the companies also are contributing to the conflict.
So the cornerstone here is heightened human rights due diligence. That means not just identifying human rights risks, but also understanding how business operations could affect the conflict dynamics themselves. So this involves identifying and assessing how a company's operations interact with conflict dynamics, mapping the power structures, understanding who benefits and who is harmed, and examining potential links to complicit actors.
It's super important to get very good, reliable data. It's a lot of work. It's very labor intensive. You need to have an understanding of international humanitarian law so you know how to assess that data and can mitigate that risk.
When you go into some of these jurisdictions, there isn't that established reporting. You have to start asking stuff within the community. You get a real pulse on whether someone is credible. And that requires a little time, which is why investment in these places is so difficult.
En tant qu'investisseur responsable, bien souvent, face à la difficulté, on a tendance à fuir ou à quitter la région. Mais pour moi, ça devrait plutôt être le contraire. Parce que continuer d'investir dans un environnement difficile, c'est aussi donner des opportunités qui vont permettre à la situation de se régulariser progressivement et peut-être avoir un impact positif.
The best thing you could do is start your processes early. If you build it in really early, it's kind of like breathing.
International human rights law is the floor, the baseline that applies universally in all situations. And then IHL comes in over the top as an added layer of obligations and responsibilities in times of armed conflict. Liability could be criminal in nature, but there could also be civil liability that attaches to IHL breaches.
Investors should also ensure that companies establish preventive and mitigation measures, maintain clear grievance mechanisms, and ensure continuous monitoring. Engagement with affected communities is essential to ensuring that operations do not exacerbate tensions.
Parce que quand on est dans une zone fragile comme ça, et en ce moment, je pense qu'en tant qu'investisseur, on peut avoir un rôle.
So, first, learn about international humanitarian law. This is not politics. This is not about taking sides. This is for the benefit of the companies and investors. There are many initiatives out there where investors can collaborate. Fortunately, there is more and more guidance out there where there is clear recommendations about how to go and ask questions to companies about having operations in conflict areas and what to expect from them, and some good practices there too.
International humanitarian law, it's not just about risk management and avoiding risk. It also provides a roadmap for responsible investor companies to do good.
Dans un contexte fragile, la solution n'est pas de partir. Au contraire, la solution c'est d'être présent.
Responsible disengagement is one option, but it's not always the only one. In some cases, remaining can sometimes support livelihoods and essential services, provided that the company can demonstrate that its operations do not contribute to human rights abuses. Ultimately, the goal under the UN Guiding Principles is not to flee risk, but to manage it.
There is a way of doing this. There is a way also of conducting heightened human rights due diligence in your own portfolios.
Operating or investing in CAHRAs isn't business as usual. It requires deeper, proactive, and context-sensitive due diligence. Investors need to assess their exposure, engage with stakeholders, report transparently, and align with human rights and, where relevant, international humanitarian law.